Okay, dear friends, dear colleagues and partners, I'm Dr. Sergey Dvoryanov, President of International Diplomatic Club, and today with me, my friend and colleague Alex Davidovsky from Moscow, Vice President of International BRICS Forum. And today we have VVIP guest, big divine artist, Mr. Eugene from UK, London. How do you do?
Hello, thank you very much. Lovely to join you.
How is the situation in the UK right now with this pandemic attack?
It's very bizarre. I think most people are still inside, and there's a lot of a sense of suspicion around. I think because it just keeps going and going and going, and everybody wants to get out. You know?
Yes.
Yes.
Today we will have some conversation about dialogue of civilization, about future of our civilization, about our hopes and what we can expect in close future. And my first question to you: what is your mission of your life? How you can explain mission of your life?
Wow. Okay, that is quite a strong question. I think. I have always felt like I am gifted with a vision or many visions, and I want to open people's minds and open people's eyes, not necessarily to what is literal, but to other things they might not think about or they might not see, and to hopefully help expand the human psyche, if you like, into other spheres which we might not necessarily see again or think about,
and open people's hearts also, including.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I think, but 100%, they're all joined: heart, mind, psychology, emotional, everything.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alex, your question please to our guest.
First of all, Eugene, I would like to introduce you to Russian public, and because you see what's going on right now in the world. We have a lot of tension, controversy, the coronavirus and everything. And the people connection is becoming very important behind the politics, because they understand the cultural connection, creating more important. And you are one of the famous artists on the other side of the earth, on an Atlantic, and you kind of a Ghanaian British artist, which is famous for different capacity of the art and different vision of the art. And let us little bit learn about you. And what I've learned is you, like 70 years old, you was already awarded as the best school.
Yes.
Best school student. You come from Ghana to UK, and
That's
now
right.
you represent. I'm asking you a question. What are you representing right now? Are you Ghanaian British or British Ghanaian? What are you trying to do? You Britishalize the Ghana, or you Ghanaianize the British right now?
International citizen of the world.
Absolutely. Very, very good question. I think I have always been interested in the idea that beyond painting and drawing on canvas, like I said earlier, that there are more ideas to be explored. So one of the reasons why I look this way is because I have always been interested in fashion. So this was my way of bringing fashion into my work. But the reason why you see the face paint and everything else, as you said, it goes back down to my Ghanaian African heritage. And it's about bringing the symbolism and the strength and importance of, my culture back in Ghana, but also mixing it with the fact that, I live in England, obviously. So this is also referencing, old English culture, like, the top hat that you would have seen in, say, Victorian times. But it's everything that I wear is a symbol, as I say to people, the top hat. If you notice, there's the crown around the top hat, the face paint, the words in my jacket. So everything is just coming together to form. Thank you very much. To form who I think, and feel I am.
Yes, and quite eccentric. Yes, it's quite eccentric. Please.
And how do you feel yourself? How do you feel yourself being Ghanaian and British. How do you suit yourself in today's world? There, how is your pain reflecting the connection?
Yes, I mean, in terms of feeling, I don't think it feels any different. I think it feels natural. Although I grew up in Ghana, and then I was born in England, grew up in Ghana, and then I came back to England to continue my schooling. I don't think it feels anything different. I think it's always felt quite normal and natural. But what I would say is that if you look in, especially inside my paintings, there are references to the Ghanaian or African heritage. So what I do is I use the heritage to give my works a look, a style, or an identity. But that is just one side. As you know, I've done many different types of works. So that is just one side to it. But always what I try to do is to reflect a community, the community I'm living in, so that I'm constantly connecting to the people in the community.
It's very interesting because you're uniting the different culture. You basically, your art and your representation are interesting to all society as we starting feeling that we all are united somehow. It doesn't matter what our religion, it doesn't matter what we color have, what the eyes we have, we're all united, and you are the best representation of the Western world and African world, and your art is very unique because of this. And sometimes people do not understand what is going on. They feel segregated, separated themselves, encapsulated in their own field, and you open the mind. And that is why you call yourself vision artist. What would you say about a vision artist? What does it mean to you? What is visualization, or how you express yourself? Is it basically, I will let you talk about it.
Okay. I think traditionally we know that a visual artist is a person who paints and draws. And in our modern eras, you can create installations and you put it out. Of course, you share it with the public in galleries and they get to see what you've made. But to me, I think the visual goes beyond, the wall and installations and stuff like that. It has to start with me. And I think if I am authentic, and I'm authentic in, representing myself, the culture or my ideas and my identity, then I think it becomes easier for my work to also reflect that. So for me, being a visual artist encompasses everything. So if you look at my work on the internet, you see paintings, installations, costumes, me turning myself into different, if you like, personas. And I keep coming up with different things, but the central thing here is that they're all visual. So it's about using the visual, your sight, to help communicate ideas, again, about the world we live in and about bringing people together and make them see, think, and feel differently.
Okay, I have one question. Because right now you are a citizen of UK, yes? What is your personal feelings to Elizabeth, to the Queen of UK? Because we know every British so much respect the Elizabeth, the Queen. What is your opinion and your feelings about this icon?
Yes, I have absolutely no problem with the Queen at all.
How many times did you saw her in your life?
Once. I once did a project where I designed the Ghanaian flag to go on top of Buckingham Palace, which was an exciting project. But in my life, I've seen her once, I would say. But I think the royal family are great. I think within the current circumstances, they're limited in a certain way or in certain ways. I think there's so much they can do. And I think the situation perhaps goes beyond their capacity in terms of what they can do to help the public. And I can see it, so they are more or less in the same shoes as we are, or they appear to be anyway.
What about Ghana? How many kings in your country, in Ghana?
Oh my goodness, so many. There's so many regions. But yeah, I think the Ashanti king is the most popular. But otherwise, you have Kweo, which is near Ashanti. You have the Ewes. You have the the guys who are near Togo, and all of these cultures have their own kings and
Are you
palaces.
also from a royal or aristocratic family?
I'm
You
not
are.
from a royal family. I am not. I'm not from a royal family. Although my name Eugene, if you look at the meaning, it stays of noble birth. So sometimes people do make the connection to royalty or to aristocracy, sorry, or to kind of importance. But naturally, or should I say, culturally or heritage-wise, I am not from any.
Okay.
You just
Yes.
king of art.
Yes.
You're just king of art, okay? And another king of art, which is living in UK.
Yes.
Yeah, and I showed some of your paint to my Russian artist. The Russian Siberian artist. She's painting like a beauty, flowers, expressing a lot. Then first of all, she see your art. She said, "Why does he smoke?" and I'm asking you now, and I replied, "He smoke of England Lime." So what? So why do you want? What do you answer this question? So what do you smoke?
Yeah, it's a good question. A few people have asked me that question, like, what do you smoke? What do you do? What do you meditate on? And to be honest with you, all I do is just depend on myself and my mind. Like I said earlier, I am very, very aware that everything that we have come to know, to practice, and to put into our habits were once created by other people. And then it kind of shivered down into the rest of society. And I and yourself, we all have the power to be able to create the new fashion, the new trend, the new way of thinking, the new way of doing things. And all I'm doing is holding on to this power that we all have, and I'm just expressing it and just running with it. That's what it is.
That's wonderful. That is why your painting is called like a brainwave. What do you call it? It's a brainwave. I learned that you look. So, tell me, is the brainwave is a substance of consciousness, or consciousness is substance of the brainwave? Is a wave of consciousness or wave of brain? It's how you combine those things, consciousness and the brain. What comes first?
Absolutely. So it's the first stage of it. It's the consciousness and the trigger, if you like. So the trigger, which is obviously the conscious, and then the trigger goes into the subconscious, and then I let the subconscious do what it wants to do. So in a sense, I'm guided by the subconscious, but the spark was with the physical and the conscious. And
brain is just vibrating as a conscious vibrating. So we
absolutely.
That is wonderful. Right now we're on a process of calming the consciousness, to calm down the earth. We have to think, because love is very calm, and we have to express ourselves in a calm way. And
absolutely, it's important. Yeah.
And talking about this, what would you feel about the conscious future, or the humanitarian future? How would you feel people are connecting to each other? How would express yourself? What you painting would be cool to express humanitarian future of entire Earth? Because we're right now and very tangent on the planet.
Yes, I think it's a very good question. You used the phrase or the word global citizen earlier. And I think, as you said, through the internet or through technology, we live in a time where we are so much more aware of each other's cultures, each other's practices, each other's timelines, each other's daily affairs, daily habits, daily things that we do. And for that reason, I think that we are consciously and perhaps even subconsciously being inspired by other people and their cultures and their way of life without us knowing. And I think that the future of art should be, or is going to be, a combination of these things where, in my works, I may reflect, a bit of Russian culture and Russian history, which I think would be a beautiful mix with what I do and where I come from. So I think more of that stuff is going to happen. But what I also strongly believe is that artists are going to become more conscious. So our works, the paintings, the installations, and the things we make are going to become more socially aware. So they will just not be made for the sake of looking beautiful or pretty, but they will connect to people. emotionally, mentally, and it will draw them in a way where we can argue that the works will communicate our humanity, which I think, is what art should do.
Well, a very important question. You
Yes.
mentioned about African heritage, and everybody knows that Africa is like a continent, the motherland of all mystics practice. For example, black magic. We know that, for example, some of your neighbor of your countries, the motherland of voodoo.
Yes.
And what can you tell about your favorite place in Gabon? And do you know anything about some mystical practice or rituals in your country? And maybe you can share with us this knowledge.
Yes. I mean, I think especially going backwards, and when I say backwards, I mean, say 70, 80 years back, you had these practices which were more visible. And with the modernization of the world and Africa, these cultures have become more and more practiced behind the scenes. Because again, technology and everything else that the people in Africa or Ghanaians are seeing is changing their minds and their practices about what they do. So to answer your question a little bit more specifically, so if you go back to say Ghana and some of the villages, or Gabon, or places in Nigeria, you will find in these villages, small shrines where you might meet a shaman, and people do go there to seek health about, or to seek help and advice about their future, their family, money matters, and all sorts of things you can imagine. So in terms of the need and the reason why people go to these places, it's no different to how a European, for example, will walk into a church and speak to a priest about their problems, about them needing, healing. So when we look at it that way, there isn't much of a difference. It's the same human needs, same practices. It's just that the context and the beliefs are different. But these are some of the things you would find in the reasons why people still do go to some of these shrines and the voodoo, as you mentioned.
What is your favorite place in your country, in Ghana? Which place you like much more? I mean, your favorite place in your country.
My favorite place?
Yeah.
I think that's a difficult one to answer. I love so many places in Ghana. I think it will have to be where my parents originated, where my parents grew up, which is Kweo. And Kweo is near Ashanti. And it's my favorite place. It's not a posh, famous place, but Kweo is known for its really high mountains. So if you're traveling to Kweo, your car is on the edge, all the way on top of the mountain. But Kweo is a beautiful place, and it has lots of beautiful greenery, huge gardens. And I just like the feeling, knowing that, my parents grew up in that place, and the people are beautiful and super friendly. Yeah.
Okay. I have one difficult questions, but I'm eager to know your position. Because, right now, everybody talk about the big scandal in Hollywood, about some cult and some black magic cult. What is your opinion about all this scandal?
Sure. When I first heard a lot of these things a couple of years ago, it really puzzled me. And I didn't quite believe it because, of course, that is not what they project to us. And the hidden nature of it made it seem like it was just like an impossible thing. But I did my own research. I've watched videos. I've watched interviews from past victims who have been part of the cult or were, abused. So first of all, I think it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, I do believe that a lot of famous, known, respected people are part of the cult. And they do, as part of the cult, have to do certain rituals, have to do certain things in order for them to show allegiance to the group. Just like how you go to the church, you get blessed with holy water. I believe they also have their own rituals and beliefs and certain things they have to do to stay in the group, but to also show that they agree with everything that has been decided by their leader, if you like.
How do you feel about it?
Yes.
My direct question is, or my direct answer, sorry, is I don't think it's right. And the reason why I say this is that I'm sure anybody around the world listening to us speak will agree that if you're having to abuse children, especially, or having to sacrifice children, it's not right. It's very, very wrong, and it should stop. It should stop at once. I wish it would stop right now as we speak. It shouldn't happen.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dear friends and colleagues, it was Dialogue of Civilization. Today was a conversation with a famous British and African artist, Eugene, and looking forward to repeat our conversation again. We'll collect new questions from our audience and Dialogue of Civilization forever.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace and love.
Thank
Peace
you.
and love. Thank you. Thank you.